This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so in our last week we have discussed about the auto scaling and we are trying to see the EFS, right? So EFS is having some different calculation. That's why we have stopped with that one. And from the auto scaling point of view, they have done what I can say. Earlier we used to write the queries actually. So if I want to have this kind of condition, if the condition met, then go for the auto scaling. So now they made it as a dynamic. So we don't require to write anything. Simply just select an option. Automatically it is going to scale up and automatically it is going to scale in. Right. So that option they have provided. So now here we don't require to do anything actually. Let me show you that part.
This conference will now be recorded.
1 second, network changes try చేస్తాం నెట్వర్క్ చాలా Okay, so in our auto scaling, right, the first step will be the launch configuration, right? So whatever the instances you are going to launch in the auto scaling, all the instances
Shankar,
should be maintained the same. Yeah,
recording has been stopped, I think.
no, it is recording in progress.
Okay.
It is showing in progress only. Or let me stop and start it again.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, right. So here the first step of the auto scaling will be the launch configuration, right? So nothing but whatever the missions or the instances which we are going to launch as part of the auto scaling, that should be follow the same config. That all the instances should be have the same configuration. So that is the reason we are going to create the launch configuration first step. Then you are going to create our auto scaling, right? So here launch configuration and the AMI something I'm going to take, and the instance type I'm going to choose our free type. Choose. Then rest of the stuff you can ignore. Ingress volumes, everything. Here, key, acknowledge, create. Right. Once the launch configuration is ready, then you can create the auto scaling group. Correct? By using this launch configuration. Either from here you can create the auto scaling group, select it, and actions, create the auto scaling group, or from here also you can create the auto scaling group. Anything is fine. So I have selected it, create auto scaling group, and the name auto scaling group, and here the template. Right. This is from the EC2 and this is from the launch configuration. Select that one, then choose our launch configuration. Then the next, right, by default the VPC this one, and subnets. I am going to choose all the subnets. Then next, right, you can leave as it is. Next, this is the step. Right. So here, right, so here you can see in our last class we have seen this one, target tracking scaling policy or the none. Right. So choose whether to use scaling policy to dynamically resize your auto scaling group to meet the change in demand. Right. So if I go with none, so automatically they are going to bring out the missions and bring in the missions. So this is one thing they have up. Yes, right. So you can go with this one, then you can for the policy or target. I already have covered this one. Right. This is one thing actually from the auto scaling group. And let me go to the EFS. So this complete configuration got changed the EFS from the old to new. So that is I'm not able to figure out that option how to do that. And so let's see this time. Right. So first thing, first step of the EFS will be the of EFS is nothing but right. So you like the Docker persistency system. So if you have this server and if you have one more server and if you have one more web server, all the servers should share the same content. Right? You should not have their own hard disk like this. Right? So if they are having their own hard disk, so then what will the problem is? So what are the content I am storing here is not able to share to the other folk, right? So now here I want to have the volume or the hard disk for each and everyone as the same. So somewhere. So now every system is going to connect to the point, means the hard disk. Then they're going to share the data from the hard disk. So right, so this guy pushes the data, the latest data can be available to this guy also. This guy also. Right, whoever is pushing the data, so the other person can have the latest data because all are pointed to the same hard disk, nothing but a Docker volume concept, the same volume concept here. Now here this volume concept in our AWS, we can treat as a EFS, elastic file storage, right? So this EFS is nothing but you don't bother about the size, right? Usually if you're going to take 1 TB of size, 2 TB of size, or 3 TB, something like that. But here you don't bother about the size, hard disk size. What the EFS will do automatically, it is going to scale out and automatically it's going to scale in when they're going to pump the data, right? So when I'm going to place the data of 1 GB, it's going to scale for 1 GB. When I delete some data 200 MB, then it is going to scale in for 800 MB. It's going to sync automatically. So that the facility is there. So the only thing is whatever the data you are pushing or you are placing on the EFS, for that they're going to charge 0.08 dollars per GB in the month, right? How much data you're going to place. So for the 0.0, very less actually when you compare with the ABS. But the right, so with right now the AWS is providing different services to store the data actually. One is EBS, nothing but our hard disks, and the second one is EFS, elastic file storage system, and the third one is S3 buckets, right? So now based on your purpose, right? So how frequently you want to access the data and what kind of operations you are going to perform on the data. Right. So based on that, we'll go for these options actually. So now what your budget, right? So every customer will be having their budget constraint. So based on that, they can go with the different options. It's not like only how to go with this option. And also, this guy will having separate RDS service, database service. Apart from the EFS, EBS, and S3 bucket, they're having their own RDS services. Right? So now, based on the requirement, any one of the storage service can be chosen actually. So if I have the only files, I'm not going to have any kind of transactions, right? The banking transaction, something like that. There, I can go with this S3 bucket or EFS. When I'm going to compare with the S3 bucket and EFS are the cheaper. Right? The problem here is the latency. When I'm going to retrieve the data, the old data, you are going to see some latency. And also when I want to write the data, you are going to see some latency. So you are not going to see that much of faster when you compare with your EBS volumes and the S3 buckets. First, this EFS. If my business does not require the accuracy, like maybe 1 or 2 seconds delay is also fine for me, then you can go with the EFS, very cheaper than the others. Then here, so the thing will be, I am going to create 2 servers first to see this use case. I will go to the EC2, and from the EC2 I will create at least, right, to see this one, at least we require 2 machines. So I will launch 2 servers. There are servers are running. Right. So first I will do security group. So go to the security group, and here there are many security groups are there here. Let me delete all because I don't want all the security groups. Leave the default. This is the default one which came with our account, and these are all the security groups we have created. So I'm going to delete all the security groups. Let's delete. Yeah. So I'm going to create that. So web server security group is there. Let me see. 80, 80, and 22. I'm going to add one more role. Usually, to connect with our EFS, we require the NFS security group. Actually, this is the one. 2049 is required to connect our EFS file system. Right, so what I'm going to do, I will go with the alt traffic. So anywhere, this is not required. This is not required. Save it. Now my web server group. So now my web server, all traffic is nothing but open for all the ports. So now I will go to the EC2 service and I'm going to create two systems. I mean to say two instances with the security group. So launch instance, and I'm going to choose Amazon AMI configuration. Here I'm going to provide two, and you can skip the add storage. You can skip the tags. Go to the configure security group. There, instead of new, I am going to select the web server group, event launch, and launch. So here I'm going to choose key and launch. So this is, I'm going to name it server 1 and this is server 2. Alright, so now let me connect to the server 1. Connect. Yeah, take the path and go. Yes, yes. So I'm going to install Apache. Service start HTTPD. Service HTTPD start. So echo switch from web server 1. Web server 1 where www html. So I'm going to create a file called index.html. 2. Now try to access the server, see whether we are able to access the pages or not. Right? So this is the second server. Connect and try to access it. This is the first server. Web server 2 able to access, and if I go with the first server, we should see web server 1. Perfect. Okay. So but here my concept is right. So I should not place the separate content in the servers. Both are web servers. Both are deployed my same application. Both are running with the same application. So now here when I say same application, so when the new version is deployed, now the web server 1, suppose we have added some other feature to the application. So something like that, web server 1. So here, when I hit the first one, I can see the web server 1 is came, but when we hit the second one, it is going to have the world. Right, so means I need to update the other server also. If I want to have the same web server 1 into the second server also, then what I need to do, I need to update the same in the second server also. So like this, copy, and then I want to update here also. So now both will serve the same. Both the servers are going to serve the same. Web server 1 and this one also going to serve web server 1. Right. So now here the concept is, suppose if I have 10 servers and the 10 servers should serve the same content, right? Because the application will be the same. So if the 10 servers should serve the same content, means when you want to update your content, then all the 10 servers has to be updated like this. So now here to avoid that kind of situation, what we can do, we can attach all the servers to a single common volume, a common point, a volume, right? So now that volume can be serve the content to all the servers, the same content, no individual here, right? So now the Docker volume concept. So now here for that, the EFS we are going to use now from the AWS. So now I will go to the AWS, will go to the services, and I will choose the EFS service, Elastic Files Storage, and from that we are going to create a EFS file system. Like in our regular Linux, we are going to call the NFS. This EFS we are going to call the NFS in our physical systems. So now here create file system, and here I'm going to create a file system, my EFS something, or web server EFS. So now the cloud VPC, as of now we don't have any other VPCs. So right now we having only one VPC. So for that, the same VPC, the default one we are going to take and click on create. So now the EFS will be created. Right. So now here the EFS will be the name EFS, then select this one, Right, so here only the change what we need to do, the networking option actually. So go to the network, and here you are going to see the network options, like wherever the, like whatever the zones, like, so I have choose Ohio region, US East 2. In this US East 2, we have three zones, 2A, 2B, 2C. So now this EFS will be creating on all the zones, so that, right, if you are going to create the instance which is in some other zone called 2A, now the next instance which I am going to launch in a zone called 2B, right? So now here the data center 2A is different and the data center 2B is different. Now we are launching the systems in two different data centers, right? So there, this, suppose if I launch the EFS on 2A only, my EFS is on a 2A only, then how this 2A EFS will go and connect to the 2B? So that is the reason in the background, the networking they are going to enable for the EFS to all the availability zones of the region, so that even though your system is launched in the different availability zone, still your EFS can work with that. That's what here. So once the EFS is created, the network zones are created, then we need to do a change from the security group side. So let's wait for some time. Now you can see available. That's, so now the network, like EFS is available in all the zones. So now click on the manage. Now here all available zones, right? So to allow the networking, the traffic, default security group is created for this EFS. SGB24 is created. But right, so to connect, right, who is going to connect this EFS? Our systems. These servers are going to connect to the EFS, right? So now here the communication is required between my instance to EFS. So right there, the network, the port number is, right, 2043 something is there, right, for the EFS. So that port should be allowed, otherwise your instances cannot communicate with the EFS. So the default security group is not having that port open. For the default security group, we are going to have the port open for SSH 22, not the NFS port. So there, your systems are not able to communicate with the EFS if you are not open the port of NFS. Right? So that is the reason what I did. I have created a security group with all the port open. Or else you can go with the security group with NFS. Or else you can go to this default security group, whatever the NFS is, sorry, EFS is created, modify that security group to allow the port of NFS. Either way you can do that. Right? So now here already I have a security group. So that is the reason I am going to delete the default security group, and here I am going to choose our web server. Choose web server, select it, and select it. Right. So now we have chosen our own security group. This is the change we need to do once the security group, once the network is ready on all the available jobs. Save it. Right. So now here this part is done. So now the next one is, right. So if you want to work with this EFS, right, so on your systems, right, again the concept here is I want to use this EFS in my servers, server 1, server 2, server 3, right? So now here these guys are going to share the data to the EFS so that other systems can utilize it. So for that, what we have done is we have created a VPC. Sorry, I want to say guys. We have created EFS, then we have created two servers. So then after that, open the port number NFS. So now by default I have opened all, but the thing is you have to open the port number NFS so that our systems can connect with the EFS. Then the second one is this EFS has to work with the servers. So if the EFS has to work with the servers, the EFS utilities, the EFS packages has to be installed on our instance so that our instances can work with the EFS. Likewise, if I want to work with Apache, then what I need to do, I have to install the Apache. Otherwise, you cannot work with the Apache. Like that, if I want to work with the Git, I need to install the Git. In the same way, if you want to work with this EFS, the EFS utility has to be installed on the server so that the server can work with the EFS. So now here, the installation procedure, earlier they have given here something like option, mount option, something like that. But right now they have changed it. Instead of they have provided documentation here. So go to the documentation. Right here you can see mounting EFS file systems. Select this one. Mounting EFS automatically mounting from another VPC additional mounting. So let's go with the EFS automatically. Let me see here. Installing Amazon EFS utility package. This is the mount stuff. So right now we are not looking for the mount stuff. We are looking for installation. Mounting using Amazon EFS utility, installing Amazon utility package Linux. Let's see this one. Yeah, this is the one. Amazon EFS utility package, right? So we are using the Amazon image, right? So if you are using the Amazon image, so this is the utility package for our Amazon EFS. Right? So now here, take this one, copy, and go to the servers. Right, this is my server, and this is my server 2. So this is for the Amazon Linux, and this is for the other flavors. Like if I take the Red Hat or Ubuntu, then this is the one. This to follow. And if you're using the Amazon Linux, then simply just need to run this command. So now I'm trying to copy the command. This is done, and this is also done. That once the installation of the utility, the package is done, then mounting, right? So usually if you remember Docker, right? So what we are going to do, once the volume is created, Docker volume is created, then you are going to tell, so this volume has to be mounted with the EFS. So what? So not the EFS, that the container with the what? Say, suppose in my container, so etc, then files. So now we are going to tell connect with this etc files to the volume so that whatever the data is pumping or placing in these files directly, it will be stored in the volume. Right? That's what the mounting. Right? That's what the mounting. So inside the container, which path you want to connect? Outside of the container, the server path. Right? So that whatever the server is having the data on the particular location, that location data will be placed in the Docker, I mean, say in the volumes of the Docker into the particular path. Right? In the volumes also, I'm going to tell like so store data in the volumes in the same location. Likewise, the volume mounting. In the same process here also. Right. So when you created EFS, right, then right? Which data from the server, which data you want to capture? I want to say which data you want to store, because the server will be having different locations like OPT, root, etc, right? Local, user, something like that. Right? Out of all the directories, which directory data you want to store it? That path you are going to mount to your EFS, so that the particular directory data will be stored in our EFS. Okay, the same volume concept. So now here, that's what we are going to call as a mounting. So now here you need to set up the mounting to your EFS to instances. So now this is the option, mounting EFS file systems. So let me click on the mounting EFS automatically, see what kind of mounting steps they have provided. This is not required. Installation, simple installation, and managing file systems. One second. Yeah, sorry guys. So right, so yeah, so the mounting of now after the utility has been installed, then you need to mount it, right? So which location of the file system has to be mounted to the server's location. For that, so the mounting options they have given here, mounting the FL file system. So some different options here. So these steps we can follow, then later on you can see our file system of tab mounting here. So now here, apart from this, go to our EFS and go to the file systems. Select that file system. You can see here the option called attach. Attach. So go to the network. Can I see this option here? No. Okay. Go to the meter size. Then here That's not the method. Right? Here you can see the attach section and click on the attach. Right? So here the attachment can be done with the help of DNS domain name or with the help of IP. Right? If you go with the IP, then they are going to ask you which availability zone you want to use. Like based on the zone, you can attach this one. So right, so I don't want to go with the zone wise. I want to go with the overall region wise. So then I will go with the mount via DNS. Then you can see here EFS mount helper and NFS client. Two ways you can do that actually. Right. So now you can set up the NFS on the servers and the NFS can be used here. So this is NFS. Or you can go with the Amazon provided EFS, Elastic File System. Right, we have taken the Amazon provided EFS, then we have to install the EFS utility only. Right, so for that, go with the EFS mount helper. So simply what you need to do here, they are telling like, so this is the command mount command. Right, so this is the mount command which you are going to use. Right, now this is the location of your server. Right, so that is the location of your server, so that whatever the data you are placing on the EFS directory on the server, that will be stored in our EFS file system. Right, so now here what I am going to do, I am going to tell my EFS file system something like this. Where www html. Right, so now here my EFS file system I want to mount to the where www html of my server. Now take the command and go to the server, paste it and see. Enter and go to the first server, enter the command. Okay, so now here cd where www html ls. Right, so here echo this is okay. So now here on the server 1 252, I have created a file index.html, and in that file I have placed the line of code called this is EFS demo. Then go to the other server, go to the location where www html and see the index.html file is available. If I open the file, right? See, I did not create this file on the server 187. Correct? I have created the automatic file I can see here on the 187 with the same content. So now here when I try to access my application. This is your first demo on the server one, and if I go to the other server, this is your first demo. Right, one single shot, right? So you don't require to go connect each and every server and data application. Simply what you can do from one server, right? So on any server, if you update anything, it is going to reflect in the other suppose. Right? So now here, due to I'm not going to update now, I'm going to update on the 187. Right? So here now I'm going to go to the index.html where www.html index. I'm going to now I have given as a demo on server 2 and save it. Right. So now if I open the file cat index.html, there I can see all the data we have given. I can going to go to the first server to simply I will go to the browser and try to access all the servers. Server 2. Right. So that this is one of the advantage of the EFS, right? So you don't require to manage separate space or I can say hard disks for every server. Simply you can maintain only one space or one volume or one hard disk, whatever it may be, for all the servers with the help of EFS, like our NFS in our physical servers. Right, guys? Any doubts here? Just only the thing is create a EFS file system. Uh, yeah.
Clear, Shankar.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. So create a file system and create the servers. On the servers, install the file system utility and open the security group of EFS. And the security group has to be attached to your EFS file system and as well as your instances. Then mount it. So the location which you want to take the data, that part of the server has to be mounted. That's it. Right. So this is one service, guys. So now here, let's go to the other service called identity access management, user management. Right. So user management in our AWS can be done with I service. IAM service, but we are going to call as a identity access management. So I'm going to select it. Okay. So now here in our identity access management, you can see in the access management side, the importance are groups, users, roles, and the policies. So these four are important for us to manage the users or to manage the services. Right. So usually when you are trying to log in, we are using our user email. Right? So my email I'm going to use nothing but that is the root, nothing but the admin. But in the real time, we are not going to use the root emails. Right? The root will be nothing but the admin who is going to manage the AWS. He is going to log in. Rest of the team, right? The team will be having their own users. So when they are going to have their own users, in the sense, we need the admin has to create the users, and that guy has to provide the login details to the team. Right. So if the admin wants to create the users on the AWS, so that part nothing but the IAM, identity and access management. Under that, you can see there is a section called access management. Under that, we are going to see this section is called groups, users, roles, and policies. That if I want to create a user, simply I will go to the user section. Right. So now here there are some users are there. Let me delete the users. Right. So here the developers wants to have the AWS access, right, because they want to store their application content. They want to store the application content, nothing but the images, right? So when you open a site like our e-commerce applications or something, right? So if you open the Flipkart, right? So here you can see the images, the logos, right? So images, these logos, right? So where from where these logos are going to display on our application, right? All these images. Right, so this is an application called Flipkart.com, and the Flipkart.com we are going to see many images, right? So the logos and images like this. So where they are going to show the images, right? So in our earlier days, the images are going to store in the database only. So from the database only they are going to pick the images and transaction everything. So now here they are going to some amount of size, right? So you can have 1.5 MB or 2 MB, 5 MB like that. So unnecessarily storing the images in the database means you are wasting huge amount of storage. The database is a costlier part, so right, so like storing the images you are going to spend huge amount of money on the database side. So the database for to use mainly for to store the tracking data, the records, so not for to store the data. So then we came up with some other solutions to store the images not into the databases. So the third party tools we are going to use. So likewise now here in our AWS they are providing different storage solutions like we have seen the EFS right now. So likewise we have a other storage solution called S3 buckets. So the S3 buckets is having been over advanced. See when we are in the S3 bucket. So there now the application images nowadays people the company or the projects are storing the images into S3 buckets. So when the application is going to run, so these images are going to pick from the S3 buckets in the background. These images are going to pick from the some other location, third party locations. Right. So now here the developers wants to track their things, right? So there are sometimes what will happen, this logo will not be displayed here. Right. So now here if logo is not displayed, right? So here in the background they're going to point to see here script source. This is the JS file, and this JS file is picking from the so and so location. Right. So likewise, the images for the application will be picked from the different storage points. Right. So these storage points usually, if I go to the AWS, usually I'm going to use the AWS services called S3 bucket or EFS. So now what I'm going to do here is, right, so sometimes I have to shoot this image not displaying. Then what I will do is, as a developer, what I will do, first I will go and check in the S3 bucket this image is available or not. If the image is available, then something is wrong from the code side. Is not able to pick it up. If the image is not available in the S3 bucket, obviously it is not going to display. Simple, right? So if the file is not available, then it's not going to not is going to use for the people. If the file is not available in the location, I cannot access the file, right? So now the thing is, if the image is not available, then you have to go and place the image in the that particular storage location. If the image is available, still your application not going to pick means from the application side, from the code side, they have to go and see why it is not picking up, right? So that is not our duty. That is the developer's duty. They are going to take care of it. So our duty is to Our duty here is in the concept S3 buckets. So now the S3 buckets are the storage locations to store our application images. So now here when the developers wants to do some kind of troubleshooting, or they want to play some content like images, or they want to download the images, right? The operations placing like uploading, downloading, right? So these operations they are going to perform based on the requirements. So now every time they cannot come to us and they cannot ask us, hey, yes, hey, DevOps guys, please upload the image, this image, that image, right? So that is wasting of time, wasting of developers' time and as well as our time. So now what we are going to do, instead of handling everything from the DevOps guys, we are going to create the users for them, for the developers, and we are going to provide the access. What kind of access? Only the S3 bucket access. I am not going to give EC2 access because that EC2 is not required for them. EC2 is for us, creating of instances, security groups, images, right? AMIs, volumes, backups, everything. So that is not their duty. That is our duty, right? So likewise, we are going to restrict the people based on their requirements. So right, this is an example I'm telling you this, like ST and blah blah. So now here to restrict them, what I need to do, I need to create a user first. So I will go to the IAM, then here I'm going to choose users. Right. So now here what I'm going to do, click add user. So now here, suppose Shankar is a developer. I'm going to give the username Shankar. Now there are two types of access. One is programmatical access. Second one is the console access. Console is nothing but of GA. Right. So programmatical, right? They are going to connect to the AWS services by using the APIs, application program interfaces, command line interfaces, software development kits. There are some other tools, development tools. They are not going to use the GUI to use the AWS services to work with the AWS services. Instead of, they are going to use these APIs or CLIs or SDKs. So what kind of access is required for the Shankar? Suppose Shankar is a developer, right? He needs the programmatic access because he is going to use the APIs to work with the AWS. Sometimes he will connect to the AWS S3 bucket GUI, right? For that, I am going to provide both the programmatical way and as well as the management console. Scroll down, auto-generated password, or you want to provide any kind of custom password, right? So here what I will say, let's go with the auto-generated password. So now here you can see required password reset, right? So now here the auto-generated password is something like it's going to create a random password, which is not easy to remember. The password is not easy to remember. So there what we will do, we'll ask for them to reset the password so that you can remember your password. So if I choose this one, the first login is going to ask me in the sense the person to reset the password. If I not choose this one means you can go with the same auto generated password to log in your AWS account. So now here next permissions. So now in the permissions, right, nothing but restricting user, right? What kind of services access you want to provide to the user. So that is nothing but in three levels you can do that. One is group level. Right. We know advantage of the group, right? When there are 15 developers are there, 50 developers are need the S3 bucket access. So I cannot, right? I cannot means instead of giving individual user level S3 bucket access, we'll create a group. Now we are going to access, like means we are going to allocate the S3 bucket access to the group. Then we are going to add the people to the group so that if any extra access which I need to provide to the entire group of 15 members, or if I want to remove any access for the 15 people, I don't require to go each and individual user level access. Instead of, I will go to the group and I will update it. That's for the group advantage, right? We know very well. So now here, now the Shankar is joining into this organization. So now by that time already Chris was there. He is a senior DevOps engineer. Now Shankar is also joined as a senior DevOps engineer. So now both are in the same role, suppose. So now what I need to do here is simple. I can give the same Chris access to the Shankar also, right? So now here I don't want because Chris is having like the senior DevOps persons are having different service access like S3 buckets, EMIs, sorry, I meant EC2, IAM, and CloudWatch, and RDS, Cloud Formation, like that. Many services because they are the admins, they are going to manage many services. So again, the same set of permissions I need to provide to the Shankar. Tomorrow Rajesh is going to join, or day after tomorrow Teja is going to join, or Bhagya, or rather whoever is going to join the DevOps group. So those persons require the same set of access. So now here, instead of creating individual user level, the option is go to the group, create a group and give the access to the group and attach these people to the group. Or the second way is uh, give the same access, like whatever the Chris is having, what kind of access Chris is having, give the same access to the user called Shankar or the user called Rajesh. Right. So now here, that's what here copy permission. So first one is create a group and attach the team people to the group. The second one is copy permissions. So now here is going to suppose by the time then the Chris will be displayed here. Just I need to click the so that whatever the permissions having by Chris, it will be applicable to me. Then the third one is policies, individual right. So now the policy is nothing but the AWS will be provide different access actually. Nothing but the policies. So now here use boundaries, set permissions boundaries. No, don't require this one. So attach right. So attach the existing policies, right? So now we understand, right? So adding the user to the group, and the second one same access levels from the other person to other person. Then the third one is policies. So now this policy nothing but user level policies. So select the policies, then click on what I need to get the list actually. No, go to the previous permission set bounds unexpected error occurred. Let me refresh the screen and see. Due to the internet slowness, it is not loading properly. Yes, so this is the which I'm looking for. So let's see, once I selected it, so the policies list is going to display here for us. Whatever the policies was there on AWS, the list is displayed here. Unexpected error occurred. Something is not correct. Go to the previous and Shankar, and the must be declared the next permissions. I see. Right. So now here, let's wait for some more time because something is not working. So now here the one more concept here is usually right when we are going to create any service, right? When we are going to create any service on the AWS, those are belongs to that particular region, right? That's what we have discussed, right? So now when you want to have that instance into other region, then what we did, we have taken the MI backup or the volume backup. Then the volume or MI is going to copy the other regions. So then on the other region, with the help of that volume or MI, you can create an instance. Right? So because our services are region level. So now here there are few services are there in AWS. Those are not belongs to the region level. Those are the global level. Those are not specific to the region instead of global level. Right. So now here out of all the services, IAM is the one which you can observe here global. Right. So the services which are on the global side, there the first one is IAM. So people will ask, what are the services which are global, not to specific to any region. Right. So this is one service. IAM is the global service. We'll discuss when you are in the other services, and I will show you what are the other services are there which are global. Okay, this is one service. Remember it. This is kind of introduction people will ask. So now here you can see when I click on the attached policies, now here the policies list I can see here. So now here this person belongs to the developer. He required only S3 bucket access. Right. Suppose forget about S3 bucket. Now the person is joined into the DevOps. He is a junior level person, like he is not a senior. So now here just I need to give the server access only because as a fresher or as a junior, I would like to train him on the server level. Then we will give the other services access. So now here what I am going to do, I am going to give the EC2 access only. EC2 search for EC2 full. You can see Amazon EC2 full access. So these are the policies, nothing but the permission set on the particular services, which was provided by AWS. So these policies are not created by you or me. These are the policies already created by the AWS. So these policies, like now requirement, you can choose the required policy. So then tags, if you want to provide any name, you can provide it here. Then review, and finally create the user. Now the user is going to create here. Right. So now here the user details will be provided here. Right. So click on the download CSV file, so that this file we are going to share to the person called Shankar. This file. Now this is the file which is having all the required information to connect to the AWS account or to log in with the AWS account. So there you can see username and the password, default password. Then the access key and secret key. Two keys are going to provide. We'll discuss this thing later. Then to connect to AWS, this is the link. So he has to use this link to connect to the AWS. So now here I'm going to take the link and go to the AWS, and here I will go with the particular link. Right. So now here you can see now it is going to connect as a IAM user instead of root user. This is what the observation. Right. So now here he is not an admin. So now he is not going to use the email to connect the AWS. The email is nothing but your root user. So now the users will be having their account ID, something like that. Right. So when you created a user, so it's going to allocate an account ID. So this is the account ID. Then he has to provide the username, right? Username is the Shankar. So provide the username as Shankar and the password. Right? To connect the password, copy, sign. Right. So we have enabled the option to reset the password. That is the reason in the first login, it is going to ask me the password. So now here old password I have provided. The current password I'm going to give a July, not July, September, SCP 2020. SCP 2020. Confirm. Right. So now here I am going to log in as AWS user instead of the admin, instead of the root user. Right. So now here you can see Shankar at the my account ID. Now here if I go to the EC2, Now on the EC2 service, I can do anything. I can create the security groups, I can create the emails, I can create the launch templates, I can create the instances, whatever, because I have given the EC2 full permission, complete permission on the EC2. Right, so here anything I can do. Go to the running instances. Like click on the launch instance. Right, so like that. So now here, if I go to the other service, suppose let me go to the S3 service. Right, so I click on the S3 service and see what is going to happen. Right, so here I have S3 bucket. Right, now here I'm going to see create bucket. So let me click on the create bucket. Let's see here, access denied. Right, because I have given only the EC2 services, not the other services access. So I cannot do anything here. Access is denied to me. Right. So now here likewise you can create the users and you can restrict the user to access the other services. Right. So now here let me go to the CLI part in between so that we can see the other concepts. So now here the same thing, right, is console access, right? So when you are trying to create a user, it's going to ask you the access types, right? So one is the programmatical way access and the second one is the management console access. Now this is the console access. So here the person, the developer wants to connect with from the programmatical way of access. So now here we don't have the APIs, program application program interfaces that will be developed by the developers. We know the CLI part, command line interfaces. Right. So now, right, every service will be having the GA and will be having the CLI. Like Windows, right? Your OS can be working with the bash, right? The shell, CLI part, or Linux shell. Right. So likewise. So now here I will try to connect these services with the CLI. By whom? The person called Shankar. Right. Now this guy wants to connect the AWS through the command line interface instead of the GUI, graphical user interface. So for that, what he needs to be done? Right. For that, what he needs to be done? So simple, right? So whatever the mission he is using, right? His workstation. I mean to say his workstation, right? So now suppose this is my workstation. So I am working from. So now here on the system, what you are going to do? You are going to configure the AWS connectivity. Which mission you are using for your development or for your day-to-day activities? On the same mission, you have to configure the AWS account details so that say from the same mission you can connect with that your AWS account, not by others, your AWS account. Right. So to set up that, what we need to do, right? So to set up that, we need to do is we need to configure. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to configure my account details. So that AWS configure is the command to commit from the mission from the server to the services. Then AWS configure is the command. Hit enter. Now it's going to ask you access key and the secret key. You will understand what is an access key and secret key, right? So now these access key and secret keys are going to use to connect with your devices to the AWS, from your device to the AWS. There we are going, it is going to ask you the access key and secret of the user. So now here I am going to use, this is the access key. You can observe here access key. Then I will go to the mission and here I'm going to provide it. Enter. Now here the secret key, right? This is the secret key. Take the secret key, copy and hit enter. Region name. So default region name. Which region you want to work with? I want to work with the region called suppose US East 2. So take the region and give the region details. Enter. So now here is going to ask you the output format. So when you have service, you are going to launch with the code. Now the code is going to generate the output. So the output format, how we are going to store the JSON format you are going to store, or YAML format you are going to store, like that. So I want to go with the default, whatever the system is going to take. I don't have any objection on that. Enter, leave it as this. That's it. So now here from this machine, I can connect my AWS account. I don't require to go to the console, right? So now here AWS hyphen help or Kubernetes, right? So now it's going to show you how to help, right? So AWS help or AWS command help or AWS command subcommand help, same Kubernetes concept, right? So if I give the AWS help, it is going to show us all the resources. AWS here, if I hit enter, right? So many things it is going to show us right now. The complete AWS regions. Now sign up. Let's see here. You can see auto backup, cloud trail, cloud SM. Like these are all the services. It's like likewise you can see all the here deploy, that connect. So here EC2, EBS, ECR, EFS, right? So likewise all the services is going to. So now which service you want to propose to work with the EC2 service. So then what I will do, again I'm going to take the help of AWS. Now here AWS, then in between provide the service name. So which service you are looking for, right? So AWS command. So now here I'm going to go to the AWS, then followed by my command. So what is the command here? Your service name. EC2, EC2 help. So now here this is the EC2 Elastic Compute Cloud, provide secure and resizable compute capacity, the instances, blah blah blah. Right? So now here you can see available commands. Right? The options are EC2. Here I want to create a instance. So for that, if you want to create an instance through your CLI, right? No GA, nothing. So for that, you require the command, the sub command to create the instance, right? So now here the sub command will be in our AWS EC2 run instances. So this is the command. See here start instance. Likewise, run instances is the sub command. subcommand to create instance. So now here AWS EC2, then I'm going to use the subcommand help. Right, that's what AWS command and subcommand. So now my command is EC2, inside the EC2 run instance is the subcommand. Right, so here you can see description launch the specified number of instances for which you have the permissions. That Shankar is having the permission because he is the one of the user, he will be having all the EC2 access. Right, so now if I go scroll down there, it is going to show us the examples also. Synopsis, and if I scroll on, email side instant, then all these options. Yeah, search for example. This is the following example to launch an instance. So this is the example. Right, let me copy this example and I'm going to paste. Right, so here I'm going to put as a single command. Now, you can see AWS EC2 run instances. Then these are the options. Email ID, right? You want to launch. I'm going to say which OS. So I will go to the EC2. Then I will take the image ID, whatever the image, whatever the OS I'm looking for. Suppose I want to launch Ubuntu machine. Then I'm going to take the Ubuntu image ID. So running instances. Right, the first step of the running instance will be our AMI, correct? Right, so let me click on the launch instance and choose the AMI. Right, so click on launch instance. So here what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to capture the image ID. So for that I went EC2 service, then click on the launch instance. From that I'm going to go to the AMI section. Right? Right? That is the first section of in our EC2 instance process. Right. So here my requirement is I want to have the Ubuntu server. Right. So I will scroll down here. So this is the Ubuntu server. Now here you can find this is the AMI IDs. Copy. Like I will own AMI IDs. So I have copied the Ubuntu server AMI ID, and here I'm going to place that AMI ID. T2 micro is the common and the key name, right? So what is the key name you want to use? I want to use the key name. This is the one. Shankar 50K. Shankar 15 hyphen key. You don't require to give the extension, just only give the key name. So now take the pen and go to your workstation. So this is my workstation, and from the workstation already I have configured. Right, so already I have configured my AWS connectivity. Now I'm going to run the right, hit it. Perfect. Right, when you see this output means it is successfully executed. Then you can go to your AWS console, then go to the services and EC2. You can see one new instance is going to launch apart from the existing two instances. Means total instances we are going to see. Now see the total instances are running become 3. Okay, so website 1 and website 2 are created by, right? In the
Shankar,
previous example, the yes,
అసలు
yes, Teja.
వీడియో కొంచెం డిలే అవుతుంది ఆడియోతో పాటు.
యాక్చువల్గా నెట్వర్క్ ఇష్యూ ఉంది బాగా నాకు యాక్చువల్గా, సో అందుకే బాగా స్లో అయిపోతుంది. సో లెట్స్ సీ
ఓకే.
అదర్వైజ్ నా ఈ రోజు ఒక 15-20 మినిట్స్ చూద్దాం, ఎందుకంటే యాక్చువల్గా నేను వేరే నా హోమ్ టౌన్కి వచ్చాను. సో అక్కడ ఏంటంటే నెట్వర్క్ చాలా వీక్ ఉంది ఇక్కడ. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ప్రాబ్లమ్ యాక్చువల్లీ. సో yeah, let me complete this part of IAM, this CLA part, then better we'll close today. And tomorrow if possible, if you guys can attend, like if you plan for like morning 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock, so that I will plan first to take 6 hours or something like that, if you are okay.
సిక్స్ అవర్స్ అని
Yeah,
నాకు 24
yeah,
అవర్స్
fine.
జాగారం ఉంటుంది సార్.
Fine, well, నేనేం ఫీల్ అవుతానంటే మీకు ఏమైనా డిలే అవుతుందేమో ఫీల్ అవుతాను, అంతే తప్ప నాకు వైపు నుంచి ఏం లేదు. ఓకే ఫైన్, 4 hours తీసుకుందాం. నాకు
లేదు, ఎందుకంటే క్యాచప్ చేయడానికి కూడా, ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయడానికి కూడా ఎక్కువ అయినా కానీ.
ఓకే ఫైన్ ఫైన్ ఫైన్. సో మీరు డిలే అవుతుందని ఫీల్ అవ్వకపోతే ఐఎమ్ వెరీ మచ్ కంఫర్టబుల్, నాకు ఏ ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. సో
కంఫర్టబుల్ దానికి.
ఓకే గుడ్. ఓకే దెన్ సో దెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఈ సర్వీస్ ఒకటి కవర్ చేసి క్లోజ్ చేద్దాం అది, ఎందుకంటే అసలు నేను ఏ నెట్వర్క్ కనెక్ట్ చేసినా అవ్వట్లేదు నాకు యాక్చువల్గా. సో ఈ సర్వీస్ అంటే ఈ సర్వీస్ మొత్తం తీసుకుని, ఎందుకంటే ఇందులో చాలా ఉంది ఇంకా మనం చూడాల్సింది. జస్ట్ విల్ ట్రై టు సీ ద CLI part and our GA part for the user Shankar. Okay. Right. So now here you can see the mission is running. The instance is running right now. Right. So with the CLI, we have created that instance. Now here what I'm trying to do, I will try to access the S3 service. S3 LS. Now in the S3, the service name is S3, then LS means list of buckets. So now the same user Shankar is trying to access the buckets to CLI. Obviously, it should throw an error message of access denied. Perfect, right? Because only EC2 service access has provided, not the other services. Whether you are trying to reach with CLI or you are trying to reach with the console, it will be the same. Access denied. So now what I'm going to do here is I will go to my AWS and I will go to the IAM service. There I'm going to provide the S3 access also to that user, so that he can work with the EC2 as well as S3 bucket also. So go to the user part. And here I will go to the users section again, and I will go to the same user. And so here I don't have the permissions because I connected as a IAM user here. So this guy is not having the IAM access also. What I need to do, I need to log out and I need to connect as a root. So now click on root. So here I'm going to log in as a root user. Shankar next and the password. All right. So now here this guy is the admin, so he will be having all access, right? So you can access to the Shankar user, go to the user, and here you can see the tabs: permissions, groups, tags, security credentials, access advisor. In the permission tab, you can see whatever the policies are attached to the user, right? So I am user change password, right? Because I have given the access to reset the password. So that is the this is the policy to reset the password. And we have given one more access. This is the default one system has taken because he has to reset the password. And this is the policy which we have provided, nothing but the EC2 full access. Now, right, so now here I want to give S3 bucket access. Simple, what you need to do, click on add permission. Then the same thing again, right? Click on the attach existing policies. From the list, from the policies list, you can choose the S3 access policy, right? So here I'm going to select S3 full access. Select, review, and save. Add permissions. Now you can see here EC2 S3 is added. Right, so now here likewise you can add the guy to the group. Groups tomorrow will cover. So the tags are nothing but the user tags, security credentials. Right. So the security credentials are nothing but whatever the access keys and secret key we have created. So those details you are going to see. Right. So now here this is the access key. The secret key will be disabled. Now it is inactive. So if you want to disable this one, you can make it as inactive. Or suppose you lost your access and secret key. Right. So whatever the file I have shared you, the file you lost it. Then again you can create the new access keys here on the user level. Right. So MFA will discuss tomorrow, right, because the internet is not good. So then here go to the user now. On the user level, I have given the permissions of access of S3 and EC2. So I will go to my console again, and here I'm going to repeat the command again. Right, right. When I'm going to see nothing means it's not an error. In the S3 bucket, we don't have any kind of new buckets. No data is present. There is a reason empty. Otherwise, it should show us access it denied means you can access, is able to access it. So let me go to AWS and try to access the service. Right. So to do that again, what I need to do, I need to log out and I need to connect with the user called Shankar. Or I'll simply take this console link. So the advantage of the console link is you don't require to enter the ID, account ID. If I take the direct link. So here I'm going to, so otherwise you need to provide the account ID if you don't go with the link, the user link. This is the account ID, right? So the account ID will be taken as a default when you go with the users. Now the username is Shankar and the password is SCP2020. Okay. So now I'm going to click on the S3. I know that already this guy is having reset access. Just I want to verify whether he is able to access the S3 service and he is able to create or perform any operations on the S3 bucket or not. Right, so here, yes. So see here, now when I click on the bucket login, we have access and I can see I can go with the data. If I click on cancel, still I can see no error message. Right, because this guy is having the S3 bucket access. We have provided it. Right. So now here on the user level, right, so at the group level, what you can do, you can attach the policies. Right. So let me log back as a root. Yes, I'm going to log in as a root now. Login as a root. Right, so now here let me go to the IAM service. Right, so now here you are going to see some other section called rules and policies. Right, so what we have done so far here is created a user, and for that user provide the access. What kind of access has been provided? EC2 full access, S3 full access. Right, so suppose a person like Ram joined into my organization as a junior level into the DevOps. So now for to the RAM, I cannot give the complete EC2 access because there is a chance of he can terminate the servers. Right. So then what is the problem? Right. So the problem is entire infrastructure will be gone. Right. So now here to the junior level people are the freshers, we should not give complete access. Only the read-only access has to be provided. Right. So now here granular level of access, providing the granular level of access. So instead of giving the full access, only the required, like now the service, in the service, what kind of access you want to provide, right? He cannot create any missions. He cannot stop the mission. He cannot terminate the mission. You can see the properties. He can check other things, everything, but he cannot do any kind of operations. So for that, you need to give some deeper level of access on the EC2 service. So those are nothing but the policies here. So right now, what are the policies we have seen? That is the AWS provided policy. Now, based on the requirement, we are going to create our own custom policies so that only the certain level of access can be provided to the people. Right. So now the roles is the one which is nothing but you. Right. So now here the person Shankar wants to connect with the EC2 service, and the person Shankar wants to connect with the S3 service. For that, what I did, I have given the two policies. One is the EC2 policies and the S3 policy. Now I want to do some more secure way, some more restricted way. So means I am not going to give the extra S3 policy to the Shankar. Instead of, I am going to give the S3 policy access to the service. Now not the person, to the service. Now which service? EC2 service. So now the EC2 service is going to connect with the S3 bucket on behalf of me. I don't need to have extra S3 access, right? So just today, now we have seen to connect the S3 bucket. So now what I did, I have given the S3 bucket access to the Shankar, attached to the policy. Now tomorrow, right, when we are going to work with the roles, right? So the roles are nothing but one service is going to connect or communicate with the other services. You don't require to give a separate access to the user level. Instead of, you can give the access to the service so that it will be more secure, more efficient. The roles are nothing but. So that is the reason many of the services, when you are trying to work, the service has to connect with other services to fulfill the requirement to achieve the goal. So now what we are going to do? So we are going to give the access to service level so that they are going to communicate one each other. What extent the access is required. Right? The AWS will always support or give us suggestions to go with the role level access instead of the user level access. Right? So we'll cover these topics tomorrow, guys. So because of this network issue, so better not to proceed. Right? So ఇక్కడ ఆపేద్దాం. So it delays and దీంతో ఇంట్రెస్ట్ కూడా పోతుంది యాక్చువల్గా frankly speaks. Right. So tomorrow we'll see the group and roles
Chandra, I
and
have a
policies.
question.
Yes, Ram.
మనం ఇక్కడ who will access the user root level and who will access IAM level?
Yeah, that's right. So in the team, right, the DevOps folks will be having the admin level access, and the developers, testers, everyone will be having the user level access. Even though the DevOps people are also not going to have the root level access, they will be having all the service access. They will be connected as a user, IAM user. Everyone will be IAM user here. So only the one, like from the architect level or the on-site level or from the offshore level, if any architect is there, he will be having the root level access because he has to provide the access and other stuff, right? But if except the architect, everyone will be the IAM user here. Now the
Okay,
IAM user will be having all the
below.
access.
Yeah, go ahead, Chandra.
Yeah. So right, so that the DevOps also will be logged as a IAM user, but they are going to have all the access. The rest of the people will be having their restricted access, right? So that is the reason when I'm trying to show you our services, I'm going to log in as a IAM user only. I'm not going to log in as a root user. Tomorrow I will show you anyway. It is lying here.
Okay.
So yeah, everyone is a IAM user here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Then so better we'll stop today. Okay. Yeah. See you tomorrow then.
Okay. Thank you, Shankar.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Shankar.
Thanks, Chris. Chris, please share the.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. As soon as I get, I'll share.
Yeah. Thank you.